All right. Should be live. Breaking things on my desk. Okay. So today we're doing a little bit of a master study. Trying to understand a little bit more about how blending works, especially with faces, although technically this blending would work anywhere. Hi, Limbozo, Devin. Oh, thank you, Limbozo. Hope you enjoyed it. So yeah, I'm gonna try to see if I can figure out how she paints here. And hopefully learn a couple things before the next portrait that I have to do. Should line up. It's perfectly. It's inspiring the latest one. I'm planning to become a mangaka. Oh, awesome. Dude, I love manga. So, more power to you. Even though there's tons of manga, I honestly still need more to read, so bring it. Hi, Nikki Chun. Okay. First, we're going to start with some kind of sketch, which we are going to go to 50 density. Okay. Hi, Solomon. Hey, Aditya. How is everybody today? Let's see. We're not gonna get. Doing master study, forget. Let's try to simplify things first. Okay. I'm trying to be over here drawing the head all complicated. Okay. Just a little before. As a recommendation, if you want an episodic manga so you don't get overwhelmed, Dungeon Meshi? Dungeon Meshi, that sounds familiar. It's not the one that has an anime coming out, is it? From Studio Trigger. It's like the cooking in the dungeon or something. Let's just go like that, simplify the whole thing for right now. Be good. Uh, Delicious in Dungeon. Oh yeah, I'm really excited for that anime. I haven't read the manga, so I probably will. As usually once I watch the anime and it's by Studio Trigger, so excellent. But usually once I watch the anime, I want to read the manga, so I'll probably wait till the anime comes out just so I'm not spoiled. I want to see it fresh, and then I'll check out the manga for sure. But I've heard good things. Who's the reference by, Solomon? This is Ray 17. This is one of our older works. I was trying to look for something that was simple. I'm trying to, learn rendering, and she's very good now, so her paintings can be very complex. And I am really just trying to understand the blending part of things. It's just trying to pick up on some knowledge here, so I found one of her simplest portraits. I really love this one though, still. I want to try to finish with the drawing as fast as I can so we can get over to the painting, because that's the part that I really care about. Not sure if I'm gonna deal with the flowers just yet. Shall see. Even with master studies, I still try to elevate them in my own ways. Not necessarily that I think I'm gonna do better or anything. They're master studies for a reason. I do, I went to a fine arts school, so it was all exact copies. Like, you're really training your eye to see, and that's great. It does help you a lot, but my goals are different now. I don't need to make exact copies. I need to learn and understand the subjects and how to do things like blending and everything. And this is an old piece, so or for her. So I'd want to try to see if there are things that other takes that I can produce that may help me improve. Not necessarily that they're better choices. Pretty much can guarantee in a master study that it won't be as good as the master. It can get very close. Just nose is way too big. Why? Chin, how's that even possible? First of all, the eye's too high up, so that makes sense. Okay. Maybe it's not that the nose is too low, but the forehead's not big enough. I really want to do way more studies, but I don't know how much effort I should do when it comes to it. Do I treat it as practice or as an actual piece? That is a good question. So the reason why I'm contemplating this is because when I first did master studies like that, I definitely treated it as an actual piece. But I think I would change that now. First of all, because master studies can get boring because they're other people's work. They're not yours, right? So why the f am I doing this so poorly? Oh, okay, I see what's happening. I'm treating the head as smaller. This is getting bigger. So I think if I were to go back and do master studies again like I'm doing now, I'm gonna keep them. I don't want to do too many master studies, right? Because I don't think that benefits you too much. Jesus Christ. I'm really bad with this. This is deceptively harder than I thought it was gonna be. Okay. Usually I do better with studies not going on. Sorry, I'm gonna finish answering your question, Solomon. So I think now I would treat it as practice. You should still put effort into it, of course. Always put effort into your work and everything. But the master study is there for a purpose, to help you learn something. And you know, you can learn a million things from one painting, so you kind of have to decide what it is you want to take away from it. I think spending a ton of time doing a master study to make it like a perfect exact replica is not, it kind of gives you, I would say, this false sense of pride, like you created it, right? And it can mess with you a little bit, because when you actually do something for yourself and it doesn't turn out as good, you're sitting there wondering, what the hell did I do wrong, right? And you didn't do anything wrong. You just didn't realize that those studies weren't going to be exact translations of skill. And that's what I think a lot of people get wrong about master studies. Hello, here from your last video. Hi, Sketches. Hello, just watched your video about pursuing art. It gave me a moment of self-reflection on changing my path in my life. Thanks. That's awesome, Cross Vadar. I'm happy to hear it. Marzaki just came from your TikTok to your long video and saw you're live. Awesome. I'm glad you made it here. But yeah, Solomon, if you're also not just talking about master studies, because there's just general studies too, in that case, it's like you're always trying to figure out how to improve on what's already, or at least for me, I'm always trying to figure out how to improve on what's already there. A lot of times when I study, even from other artists, like I'm getting design from them and everything, but when it doesn't look exactly like theirs when I'm done, and I like mine more. Not every time. But that should be your goal, is to like make it your own. When you're a beginner, your studies are they're gonna look pretty close to well, I mean, you're also not going to be very good at certain things, but you're going to be picking up on the people that you're learning from, so it's a lot of your work is just going to look exactly like theirs, and there's stuff that you can do about it. It's the nature of being a beginner, right? But over time you start to develop your own taste, I guess. There's different things that you like that you're not going to get from one artist that you're studying. You like the way that the line looks from this artist here, the way that they shade this from another artist over here. So like as you develop, you're just going to start to lean towards things stylistically that you're not going to get out of one study, so you're going to change it as you study it to a mold that fits your interests. So typically as a beginner, you're probably going to treat more things as an actual piece, and it's good. It gives you confidence and everything, so that's great. And then as you get better, you start to, the things that you study start to become a little more yours. Not that you should just steal other people's work. You should still create works of your own, because otherwise you're not really learning. But yeah, and I would try to get to that point as soon as possible. I'm not going to do too many master studies, mostly, or especially master studies that are exact replicas that I spend hundreds of hours on, because it's not supposed to help me move to something of my own creation. Okay. I think this is pretty accurate. This is a little bit smaller. Do you have socks over your headphones? If so, why? Yeah, I do have socks over my headphones. My headphones are falling apart, and I don't really have the money to replace them, so rather than that headphone debris getting stuck in my ears, I just put socks over them, and it seems to be working. Although I had to wear them for being on stream, so it is a little funny. They're clean socks, so don't worry about that. Alright. Last part here is the lips. Have you used building blocks on this by chance? Like, for example, the Loomis method for drawing the head? No, I don't really like the Loomis method, I'll be honest. There's things that I've definitely taken from it, like understanding the slice of the side of the head. But, and I definitely studied it when I was first starting out, for sure. I wouldn't really say I have a method for constructing the head that's like the Loomis method or the Riley method. Like, I've learned from so many artists at this point that it's my method now. I just do the head. But no, the way that I started this, because it's more of a study, is I blocked it out kind of like a bark cast drawing or something. I started to do it like you said, sort of where I was drawing my heads, like this is how I would typically construct a head from side view, and then start busting into the shapes and everything. I started to do it this way, and then I realized that I might screw it up that way, especially since I got like this isn't even half of the head here, it's like a third of it. So I was like, I'm gonna get screwed up here, so I'm gonna do this in a way. So instead of doing it this way, you can watch the stream again, but the Barg method is like, if you have a cup on a desk, right, like that, the Barg method is you would take your lines, and first you could do a square at first if you wanted to, like that, and then you come in and erase that out, and then you start chipping away at the actual shape of it. But you start really basic, and that's what I did with the head here. It was just a bunch of like lines like that until we had it. Okay. Don't worry too much about what that looks like. But I think we did pretty good with this. feel like his head is sunken in just a little bit. Yeah, actually, this nose part is still a little screwed up. Just got here from your recent video. Amazing arts and videos. Thank you, Sandwich. So yeah, this is a perfect example because I said I was studying Solomon. I said I was studying an older piece of hers, so you know, her knowledge is not going to be as strong, but I know the shapes here that are in the skull, so there are things that I may have to fix based on the stuff that I know that maybe she was missing when she first created this piece. And that's not a knock against her or anything. Like, she's incredible now, like beyond pretty much every artist. But if you're going to study something that you like and you know that there are flaws to it, you know, you don't have to study and copy the flaws. You can also make them better and see how you would improve upon it. Okay. I think we're good. Let me save this. Still not perfect, but we will figure it out when we get to the painting stage. It is good enough, I believe. I'll put this right here. Just want to fix that. There's more space for the head here. Solomon, yeah, I'm really bad at picking my inspirations apart and saying what I do and don't like about it because I usually like all of it. Again, I don't know where your skill level's at, so I could be wrong about this, but I notice, and I have done this before too, is that a lot of the artists that I like, or I should say a lot, a handful of artists that I like when I'm a beginner, I don't like them as much as I get better because, you know, you start to see the things that they're bad at because you've gotten better yourself. And you start to appreciate things that you may not have liked before because you didn't see the subtleties of what they were doing. There's a couple artists that I did not like, and then as I got better, I was like, wow, I really misjudged this art. Like, it's incredible what they did. And so I think being able to pick apart what you do and don't like, that tells me a little that maybe you're more maybe more of a beginner level, and you're just not able to see at what's good and what's bad. It could be that you chose an amazing artist too. I could be very wrong. But still, even if you chose an amazing artist, like being able to see what they did, translate that into your own skills is something that you have to learn over time as well. So you may study something multiple times just because you didn't see a bunch of things that were there before because you just weren't at that level yet. Hi, does your spine hurt after workday? What do you do with that? Samaz. No, my spine typically doesn't hurt. I try not to stay like hunched over. That could be pretty bad for your back, I think. I think I'll just do all this as one. Yeah, if your spine's hurting, definitely work on your posture. And I used to raise my shoulders a lot. And I don't know if it was my doctor or something, but they told me to be conscious of it and to lower my shoulders, and it took a little bit of time, but I just kept sort of focusing on my shoulders, and every time I noticed that they were high, I'd bring them back down. And over time, that helped. So if you're curving your spine like crazy while you're at your desk, just be conscious of it. It's kind of like how we paint. Like when you make mistakes in the head constantly, like you're always making the head too wide, you become conscious of it. And you're like, okay, I know I make the head too wide, so I'm going to be careful about not doing that. And then sometimes you'll over adjust and make it too skinny. But yeah, being conscious of it helps. I hope your spine is okay. And then I would look up, stretches and stuff to strengthen those muscles back there, because the stronger they are, the less likely you're going to feel the need to, bend over. Really, CrossFit, it's kind of a life hack. Well, if it works, it works. Yeah. Would you recommend to block out single components into basic shapes if you do drawings from life, be it humans or object? I'm not sure exactly what you mean. Do you mean if it's like in a whole composition, you would single out each individual object? That's for trying Epic. Nose is off, not gonna lie. Yeah, I think I added too much of a strong bone to the nose. I think it's a little, oops, just yet. The angle change is a little bit more subtle. Subtle angle changes are like, to me, the mark of a really good artist, because though it really makes a difference, those small little details. And things like the jaw and the nose in particular. Those are a little bit harder. So yeah, I can definitely see that I need to shave that down. And we'll get it. We'll get it right. Background. This is just typically, we don't use straight black, but this is just straight. I'm gonna leave a little like bits here. Down there. You make the strokes with so much intention. That's really amazing. Did your line art Was it more dirty before Maria? Yeah. It definitely was more dirty before. I think it's a lot of people. This is a little complex of a topic, but a lot of people like to make you use pen when you're starting out, so that your lines have more intention. But pen has a very specific use case of what it is meant to teach you, which is that line intention. But as a beginner, you also need to, you don't know shit. So you need to let your pencil explore the page so that you can sort of figure out where those marks are going. Not that you need to be choppy with everything, but even today I do that now. Like when I draw a head, right? That's terrible. Okay. When I draw a head, I don't always know exactly where I'm going, so I need that ability to make messy marks and explore so I can figure out, you know, what I'm gonna do with it. And I think it's okay to be messy like this. And then when you, that's why when people switch to inking, right, it looks terrible and they hate it because they're like, why does it look like this? Because they never practice inking. They never practice making those finished lines. So if you do make your lines sketchy like this, eventually you're going to learn enough to know that, okay, I know this well enough now. I think I can switch to pen and try doing some lines with intention and seeing how that works. And I did a whole class, it was the VizComp class, where it was all pen. And the pen, like I didn't know stuff in that class, right? So you're trying to draw bugs and you're drawing the two circles and then you're connecting them and making the antennas and everything. And the circles are still there. It's pen, so it was all messy and shit. But you made it all dark, the outline and everything. So at the end of it, it still looked decent, but the mess was still there. But then there were some things that you were kind of able to hide the mess as well. So pen has its use cases. I don't think it needs to be used, or you need to have specific intention with your lines. You can let your lines explore. Okay, break this. Oh, nope, not that. Density all the way up. Oh god, not that much. It's midnight here. Got a bed. Have a nice day. Bye, Cross. Trying Epic. I mean, let's say you want to draw a specific building because you like the architecture. Would you sketch it out into basic shapes and then work on it from there? Yeah, absolutely. You would definitely want to do basic shapes first, especially as a beginner, because you know you're not really used to all of those things. Once you understand more about architecture, you could probably do a little bit more detail than just basic shapes. I think that's how you sort of progress. Like I used to draw anatomy as, very basic, like gestures, circle, and like a box, And now when I start my anatomy, it's like, it looks like the muscles from the start, right? I'm drawing in, there's some basic shapes happening there, but I'm not drawing boxes anymore. So it's a progression. So if you're a beginner, you're doing architecture, yeah, you draw out those boxes so you can nail down the perspective and get the placement of everything. And as you progress as an artist, then you would then you might start those buildings with a little bit more detail. But yeah, for sure, breaking down to simple objects helps you so much with placement. You don't want to have what's more green. Okay. You don't want to have oh my god, I'm forgetting what I was gonna say. But yeah, basic shapes, yes. Actually, don't think this is entirely white. It is actually. More, what happens? It's not entirely right there. I wouldn't call myself a beginner or pro. My inspirations have changed. Lots of animated, more classical art. Leyendecker is a favorite. Oh yeah, Leyendecker's very sweet. I like his work a lot. This is desaturated more. Oops. Hello, Schnein. Shin? Joseph, hey dude, I just watched your video about pursuing art. Thanks for the primo content. Thanks for watching, Joseph. I'm glad it was primo content. A bit of green eye over here. A little darker. A lot darker for the iris. It's funny that I actually don't know how far it sits back, but the iris sits back in the eye. Something I didn't know for a while, especially from the side. Just gonna draw that line lightly because I want to render out the face before we deal with that. Powers are coming up here. I already feel pretty good about this, so that's good. It's just gotta come in farther. Skin definitely has to get a creamier little. If this works. Darker vibe. Color is so hard. It's a beast of its own. This one also a bit lighter. Okay. And do away with these lines. Another thing I like about Ray is she stylistically makes it really interesting choices just so that the image that she's making is clear. So like the eyebrow, for instance, could potentially be a little bit darker to be within the shadow of this, but she made it stand out. I'm seeing that this should be more. Very desaturated, which is cool. A lot of times what I like to do is I'll add other programs. I think you can just manipulate it. I'd be able to do it in this one too, but I'll just go over the lines with the brush. You clip the layer to the lines. I'm not actually erasing them, I'm just changing the color, and I'll make it like a darker, slightly darker value to let it blend. So we're gonna do here is fix our shapes. Once we get all these lines gone, is this there? Oh, that's the lines. Okay. Do you have this kind of feeling to make perfect studies, or would you recommend to young artists with this type of mindset? No. I definitely was like that before. Maria. Maria? Maria. Tell me if I said that right. I definitely was like that before, where I felt like I had to make perfect studies. Definitely not anymore. The goal with studies is to learn something, and typically you want to try to learn something specific. If you're just sort of, I mean, you can learn in a general sense too. Like when you're drawing heads and you just want to get better at heads, so you study a bunch of them. But especially when you do master studies, you're trying to pick up something specific. If you just go into it just trying to copy exactly what you see, and you're not really thinking about the specific things that you're trying to learn, you're not going to get as much out of it. What is happening? Oh, it's because it was the wrong. I'm new to paint tool size, so I'm part of why Ray, the artist for this, uses paint tool size. So this is part of why I'm learning this program too, actually. But no, I in no means need this study to be perfect. I want to learn from it and understand how she did what she did in the piece. In fact, I prefer that it's not a perfect study, because I want to see myself in it as well. But yeah, even when I do studies now, like not master studies, but just like if I study the head or something, I'm always trying to change. Like you may have a style you like, you're not gonna find that exact, especially if you're trying to come with something new, you're not gonna find that exact style from an artist. You're gonna pick up pieces from a bunch of different artists here and there. So I like to call them kind of applied studies, where you're not studying exactly what you're seeing, you're morphing it into the things that you want while studying that thing, which is a harder thing to do. And you'll screw up a lot, but you'll learn a lot too. So yeah, no need for perfect studies. I think it does help train your eyes a little bit to try to get things accurate. Like if I'm studying this, and I do know that Ray is good with shape design, so I am gonna try to get things close to correct, and then sort of go off on my own with the knowledge that I have. A lot of times when you do like a master study, if you're a beginner, you don't know a lot of things. So like I know right now about the brow that I'm creating and everything. I can adjust things based on the knowledge that I have. But if you don't know anything, you may need to make a quote unquote perfect study. But you'll notice that I'll purposefully change things. They won't be exactly like hers, like this painting. And then, you know, I'll also make mistakes. So not on purpose. I just can't do it because I'm incapable of trying. For me, a lot of that generally doesn't come down to the drawing so much as it does to the painting. I'm weaker at painting, so oops, trying to understand how to paint better. That's the point of this study. I also think you just, as you improve as an artist, it's less interesting to, you want to do more and more of your own work, you know? So it's less interesting to just copy somebody else's. So when you do copy somebody else's, you're really making an effort to sort of study something very specific, so you get a lot out of it, so you can come back to your own work, so you can make your own cool stuff. Murderous Munchies, nice name. Loved your videos, man. It's crazy because I just discovered them yesterday. Thanks. Yeah, I'm relatively new. Been doing this a year now or something. I feel like I've started to figure some stuff out with YouTube and how to make better videos, so I'm feeling good about that. That's been really awesome. I kind of wanted to, there's so many different kinds of art channels out there. I really gravitated towards not just art channels, but channels that are like lifestyle kind of. I feel like there's a lot of art entertainment, or purely art education, and sometimes those can get, I feel like, a little tiresome for me. I wanted to know more about the journey behind the people who are doing it. I like, if you've ever seen Gawk's art, His videos are so well done and just so good. Um, you know, as an artist too. I think making videos is cool as well. It's a whole other skill set. I'm basically becoming a filmographer, cinematographer, or whatever, however you want to categorize that. Oops. But yeah, I wanted to try to become more of like a lifestyle artist, I guess, where I'm sort of taking you through the experience while also helping you to do stuff too. Um, Alright, I think it's time to combine the lines down, so I don't really need them anymore. How much time are we at so far? Oh, we've hit an hour. Jeez. Okay. Part of the healthy creative process, guys, make sure you stand up every hour. So I always take a break every hour for 10 minutes. And I can answer any of your questions. So if you have questions now would be the perfect time. You'll still be able to see me. Wait, my laptop. Ugh. Are those towels or something, Tasty One? No, those are socks. I put socks on my headphones because they're deteriorating and I don't have enough money to buy a nice pair, so it's just a simple fix for now. Maria, yeah, I have a hard time trying to put my own style when using a reference to study something or put a certain character in a certain pose. That's okay. Having your own style is something that comes over time. So if you're still, you know, a beginner, all your work is going to look like the people that you studied. It's only after a little bit of time where you studied lots of different things that you start putting things together that's accustomed to your taste. As far as poses, yeah, I'm not the greatest at that either. One of the best things that you can do is study very specific sets of poses, so that you can easily sort of bring them up in your own head again. So I am doing this project with Bleach characters, right? And I wanted to do a set of sketches for each one with full figure poses so I can help myself learn anatomy. But it's really hard when you sit down and you're just like, I can draw any pose ever. Like, you come up with no ideas because it's too much. So my teacher always told me, it's not because you have too many, or excuse me, it's not because you have no ideas, it's because you have too many. So you need to reduce the scope of what you're thinking about. So if you want to draw poses, like I'm doing for this project, I needed to have a specific thing that they were doing. So I came up with a theme of like getting ready for bed. Like my theme for the whole book is like a nighttime being asleep thing. So now I have this sort of subset of all poses for just going ready for bed, and every character's bedtime routine is different. Like there's a really big guy, so he might lift some weights or do some push-ups or stretches or something, and then one of the other characters is very studious. He studies a lot, so I have another one, different poses of him looking through a book, studying, standing, and they're all like shirtless, so I can study their anatomy. But and then when I struggle with those poses, then I'll go find reference for those poses, those kinds of poses, and I'll study that, and then I'll put those away the next day, and then I'll try to come up with some of my own based on what I studied beforehand. So when you get more specific, it's a lot easier to come up with ideas and to study them, and also help yourself remember things too. And eventually, you'll have enough poses that you've practiced that you can pretty much do anything. It just takes a little bit of time, and at first it feels like I can't come up with any pose ideas. So give yourself time to learn stuff. Be very, very, very specific in the beginning. The more specific you are, the easier it's going to be to come up with ideas. Like if I did all those characters very specifically, I just wanted them to be, how each of them would brush their teeth. You got the aggressive brusher, someone who's just calmly standing there kind of thing. That's a very specific pose, and now you have it in the bag. And you can use it for other things. Artist Munchies, yeah, I really like the idea of art journey channels. It's not so overbearing because there's no expectation for me to be good at what I do. It's just my journey. Yeah, I feel like that too, for sure. It's kind of like a collective of people who are on the same journey. It feels more community oriented, rather than like entertainment, like you're kind of outside watching in kind of thing. I feel like it's more, you feel more a part of it, and I like that aspect to it. Tasty One, mine did the same. I did buy ear cushions, are way better than sock cushions usually. Did transition to just earbuds. Stole from my mom's old phone. Oh my gosh. Don't steal from your mom. Yeah. Yeah, they probably are better than sock cushions. I'll get new headphones eventually. I can't replace the ear cushions on these, so actually, it's just how it goes. They were nice. They were nice headphones, and I've just had them for years, so what are you gonna do? Victoria Stepan. I'm always having a hard time referencing other artists' work. If I'm not that skilled yet, not even sure if their artwork is correctly proportionate, or shadows or something I should learn. Okay, Victoria. Let me see. How can we help you? When you're a beginner, referencing other artists' work is definitely the easiest way to study because they have the design and everything set up for you, but it's still a challenge. It's not going to be easy. You can see me, like, I would consider myself fairly experienced, especially at studies. I still struggle with this. I'm also just worse at painting, but I struggle with the drawing part too. And I've made this easier on myself, which I think you should do for studies, but this is literally a one-to-one, and it's the exact same size, they're right next to each other, and you may not always do that for yourself, but I think when you're doing master study, this is definitely the best way to go about it. But just for regular studies, referencing other artists' work, it is still going to be a challenge, especially depending on where you are in that journey. If you're not sure if an artist's work is good or not, like if their proportions are good, I would try to lean towards artists that you know based on other people's knowledge, like professionals' knowledge. Look up who artists look up to and things like that, and you'll find artists that they love and you'll know that those are qualified artists that you can study from if you're having trouble understanding if this artist is good or not to study from. And then, you know, artists make mistakes too, so even the really good ones, you have to be careful because sometimes they may get some stuff wrong. You're not going to learn anything super bad that's not recoverable from, excuse me. So I wouldn't worry too much about, you know, if this drawing is correct, especially if it's a vetted professional. You're gonna figure that stuff out pretty quickly. In the beginning, your improvement is a lot faster because you have everything to learn, right? So it's a lot easier to improve at the beginning than it is from the middle to the end of that pro journey. The beginning is going to be a lot quicker. And then shadows are something I should learn. I'm guessing you're just trying to say you're not sure what you should learn off of that artist. It just depends on what you are interested in learning, right? If that is what you're saying, I'm not sure. I wouldn't be trying to learn everything from like one piece. Like I really love this composition that she made on this painting, but I'm not studying composition right now. I'm trying to figure out how she renders and blends her form. And that's literally all that I'm studying. I still get a lot out of it because I'm also studying her shapes, and her design, and her colors and values. So you're still absorbing like this like subtle stuff, right? But the stuff that I'm really trying to learn and then use on my next piece is the rendering. So that is my focus, and that's why I don't care if the drawing is perfect and all that other kind of stuff. Okay, my point is to get to the blending, which we're going to do for the next hour, so I'm very excited about that. Oh, thank you so much. Okay, good. Got your question. Arthur used Love Life Drawing Reference Library, so good for gesture. Yeah, I used to use a bunch of those gesture libraries. I think the only problem with those gesture libraries, and goes for like figure drawing workshops as well, is that you can study thousands of those poses and still struggle to come up with poses yourself. And the reason why that is just because you're not really learning those poses. You're just focused on trying to get that figure down, and you're not really putting it into your memory. I said this in the video that I just released. Like, there's a false assumption that just because you study something a bunch of times that you know it, and that you're going to be able to draw it yourself, or you could turn the pose, do whatever you want with it. That's not how learning works. You know, studying is almost kind of like its separate thing. You have to pull it, you have to recall it from memory. So study those poses, put it away, and then the next day you're learning it by actually trying to recall those poses or versions of those poses. And that's where the deep learning is actually going to happen, and you're going to be able to recall those poses for however you want and change them around. Art by Six, streaming on Twitch too? No, just YouTube. I didn't think it made sense to do both. You know, maybe it is. Okay, we're past our 10 minutes here, so we're ready to go again. Ryuzaki. I know that's lame, but I wanted to thank you for your videos. Really put me back on track and changed my mindset a lot. Not lame. Don't you worry about that. Pursuing art honestly is it's super brave, guys. It is a hard thing to do, to just bash your head into failure constantly and be happy about your success and keep on improving. It takes time and effort, courage. It's a lot. So there's nothing silly about that. Nothing lame. Art by Six. Ever tried Twitch? I have tried Twitch a couple times. It's just that now that I'm on YouTube, I think it's just easier and there's better discoverability and stuff like that. So right now we're doing YouTube. See. My laptop. I had to see somebody else use Sai. Yeah, I just started using Paint Tool Sai. I had to follow and raise footsteps. The headphones? Yeah, they're sock headphones. My headphones are deteriorating, so socks are so that stuff doesn't fall into my ears. Alright. We're gonna just real briefly, I don't care if it's like super accurate, but I want to oops. I want to just block in the plants here a little bit. Earring that is big and makes the ear hole bigger. Oh, they're gauges or something, right? Put this black so it's close to green shirt in here. And I am really struggling to get started with art, and every time I try to get overwhelmed with all I have to learn and scare myself into not trying. Do you have any advice for this feeling? Yes, I do have advice for that. That is tough. I'm not gonna lie. I think we all deal with that feeling even when you start. That is one of the problems. So that's why I made that video about all this stuff, because that is one of the key issues trying to start. I think sort of getting yourself to be consistent with it and just starting so that you kind of show yourself that it's not as scary as you imagine it to be is kind of the first step. And if it's really that debilitating for you, then the first step for you might simply be to do a very short amount of time so that it's not overwhelming and scary to you. And that's, I think, something that a lot of people have trouble doing even. Sounds weird, like draw for 5 minutes or something. People either don't think that it's worth it, or that it sounds silly, but that the point is not to get good at it at first. It's to allow yourself to be comfortable with doing it and to become consistent. You're showing up for yourself to do the thing that you want to do. It is not about getting good at first. Sorry. My mom is calling. Yeah, but color. I need to figure out what the heck it is. So I'm not seeing it. If I don't figure out what it is in a minute here, I'm gonna have to go just color pick it to see where I'm going wrong. All right, we're going in. Seriously? That was close. So yeah, Cyan, I hope that answered your question. The book Atomic Habits that I talked about in my video is very good for this exact kind of thing. That's why I love that book so much, because it helps you get out of that fear zone and into the consistency that you want for yourself. But you find a time essentially that you're comfortable with. So wherever you hit a mark where your brain isn't screaming at you, I'm afraid to do that, where it's like I can do that, that's when you know you've found the right time. For me, that was 30 minutes, but for other people, you know, it could go as low as 1 minute. So you tell yourself, today I'm gonna draw for 1 minute. And if that's the threshold where you can say, okay, I can do that, then you do that. And you show up for yourself. And once you do that consistently, it's a lot easier. You start gaining confidence and you can increase that time. And part of, like, I resisted doing it for the longest time because you don't want to, right? Like, you're like, I want to draw for a ton of hours and be this incredible dude, and you can be, but just not yet. You need to get past this mental block that you have created for yourself. So yeah, I started at 30 minutes and then I did that for a few months actually, and then I went up to an hour and then I jumped up to 2 hours from there. It didn't take as much time as I would thought, and now I'm comfortable drawing for 2 hours at a time. I think it's a good amount of time to sort of to be drawing and painting. Obviously, you know, a piece of yours is gonna require more time, a lot. You can do it in multiple sessions, and you know, once you start getting into those longer periods of time, it becomes easier to extend it too, especially when you get pieces that you're excited about. So after, you know, being consistent, there's other challenges beyond being consistent. Like, you're gonna start to, if all you're doing is studies, you're gonna start to get bored with that. And realize that you have to do your own projects, and things like that. So you'll start discovering new problems. You can always come back here and ask questions when that does happen. Try to find raw things in drawing that make you happy that are not the end result. Sketch lines and see a lot of black lines. Now it's more shading. While I sketch, that helped me. Oh, things that help you enjoy the process. Yeah, that's really great. That's good too. You do have to enjoy the process of this. You know. It's also like, if you don't enjoy the process, what is the point? Why are you doing this? I had to ask myself that question a lot at one point. Because sometimes you end up saving things because you think, oh, I'm gonna get better in the future, and that's when I can create the things that I really like, make the fan art about the shows that I really love or whatever. So you're never gonna make it there because you're just gonna do all the boring shit now. You're gonna make it. Oh, okay. This is actually looking pretty dang good. It's not perfect, of course, but I think we're finally getting to a point where really start blending out here. Arthur, are there theories on habits like learning theory, behaviorism, etc.? Are there theories on habits? Like, it feels like your question may be two different things, so I'm trying to understand. Do you mean like how to learn better, or are you talking purely just like how to create habits? If you could be more specific, Arthur, I appreciate it. I think I'm having trouble understanding what you mean. But if you notice on this painting, the edges around the face are super soft. So I have a feeling even if she may have started um, the painting on two different layers just to separate it, I have a feeling that she combined it so that she could make that soft transition. I think I'm realizing that my hair is just a little high. Too much forehead, not enough hair, maybe? Maybe it's really just this part. No, I didn't want you to lose your message, Arthur. You can still ask your question. I was just confused. Scribble Mouse, totally get that feeling. I recently discovered what I really like to draw and things go smoother now. Oh yeah. Once you have a direction for your art, I feel like consistency is a lot easier. I said that in my video too, actually. Consistency with an empty path doesn't really go anywhere. Once you have a direction, something you actually want to pursue, it starts working for you a little bit better. Oh, you can't rephrase it? I'm sorry, Arthur. um, I mean, the best book I know on habits is uh, Atomic Habits by James Clear. And he goes into, you know, everything that I believe is important to creating a habit. So if that helps, hopefully. I'm sorry, I didn't understand your question. That book is one of my favorite books ever. Super inspiring. Just in general. Hi Isabel, hey there, thank you for sharing your experience being an artist in your recent YouTube video. I've been going through a rough time with unhealthy relationship with it, but your video really has helped. I'm glad it's helped you. Honestly, all the comments so far have been really beautiful. There's so many people out there pursuing art, and it's so encouraging, even to me. I love seeing that everybody is pursuing it, especially like with all the AI stuff out there. I thought a lot more people were discouraged, but there's still so many people who really want to see this this dream through, and it's awesome. It kicks so much ass. I help anyone that I can make this journey too. That's crazy. There is one video of Ray painting. There's a couple. There's like 2 or 3. But she uses this brush for all of her painting, although she adds a little bit of texture to it, but she uses this brush, which is nuts to me, because it's really hard to, it's still really hard to blend, I feel like. Whereas if you use the watercolor brush, it's like the smoothest thing. Like I can show you. Like if I wanted to just make this very soft, it's like bam, done. Want to make this soft, bam, done. I can make it a little bit nicer, but still, I think a lot of quality comes like the nice quality comes from some of these brush strokes. So getting that to blend while also have those nice brush strokes, very challenging indeed. Inspiration. Hope you have a beautiful drawing session. I think so. Yeah, thank you. I have a good drawing session today. That's what she's created. Hi, Fahad. How are you? What are you seeing? I'm a hacker. Okay. Love the progress so far. Thank you. I just switched the brush. I'm her paint tool size in Japanese, so or I think it's Japanese. So I can't see which setting she has, but I believe she uses this flat bristle canvas texture. Um, so I'm trying to imitate it now. It actually feels like the blending is happening easier now, which is cool. Um, it's very interesting. I'll have to play around with it more. Again, I'm new to paint tool size, so it's everything just feels very challenging. A little bit of black. Look into these lips. Straight line. Is this worth getting art lessons as a total beginner to avoid beginner bad habits? Oh, so tough trying to do the translations. I love Paint Tool Side though. Yeah, it is a little tough. Paint Tool Side has been very cool so far though, for sure. I like it a lot. Just trying to see it. And then worth getting Cyan, worth getting art lessons as a total beginner. To just to avoid bad habits. I think, I mean, you can learn bad habits in a classroom setting too. uh, Unfortunately, and I wish that it was different, but there are there are lots of bad classes out there. Not to make you scared or anything, but you definitely want to make sure that you're putting your money in the right place when it comes to your classes. I was very fortunate, in California, this Concert Design Academy. I think that's the best schools and has some of the best teachers, especially the founder. I can't get that stupid thing. We're gonna go back to circle, new texture. Hi, Jack Efron. Good. How are you? Yeah, I wouldn't be getting lessons just to avoid beginner mistakes. I would be doing them, because you genuinely wanted to learn from that teacher or that class. Oops. I swear this is harder than it looks. Jesus Christ. All right. You're a fashion designer from Alaska? Wow, that was incredible. fashion design too. I feel like lessons can help with fundamentals. But yeah, no, that's true, Maddie. Learning the fundamental basics is really good. And then learning that there's no rules, just tools. So much online you can look at. Yeah, there really are a lot of things to choose from, and like I said, unfortunately, they're not all good. Um, and you know, if you're not able to apply yourself to, that's a big thing because no class uh, is gonna really help you change that. So I would honestly, if I was taking an online course, I would make sure I had a little bit of consistency in my personal practice, and then I would take a class. Just so I knew that I wasn't gonna waste my time. I'm just bad at focusing. I definitely recommend taking courses, having a course with an actual teacher. Um, there's no there's no replacement for immediate feedback. If you have someone that can tell you this is how you can improve this, there's no replacement for that really. Because we do it ourselves when we're self-taught, right? But it's not the same. You're not going to see everything because you are at the level you're at. And that's okay. It's just that's why the teachers, good teachers especially, are so beneficial because they're going to give you immediate feedback that you otherwise would not have. I was studying Ray yesterday. They're so cool. Yeah, her work is, oh God. If I could pay like her, my goal will be complete. It's just so good. All of her work is good. Even back in the day when she was still a student at school, like she still created cool stuff. Nova, hi. I just started using it, Nova. I was actually gonna message you, but I wanted to get familiarize myself with it a little bit first because I remember you did that video of that Ray, the like the three space girls or whatever. Uh, and I'm trying to like understand how she uses this. I found actually a video of her. I don't know if you knew, but there's a video of her painting. It does exist. Uh, but paint tool size in Japanese, so I was like trying to figure out what settings she was using. Um, and then I remembered that you used it. I didn't know there was one. Send it to me later. I'll ask my Japanese friend to translate. Yeah, sure. I was honestly gonna download on my laptop or something like the Japanese version of Psy and just matching up the symbols. But yeah, I found there's three videos of her painting, um, and it's incredible because she uses one brush to blend everything. I was like, how the hell are you doing that? I was like, I want to do that because I don't want to have to go into like Clip Studio or Photoshop and have to use like three different tools to blend and go back to the brush and airbrush and whatnot. I remember when you did yours, use watercolor and everything. And I know that with the watercolor brush, I can make a softer transition. I know that I can do that. But I think why hers looks so good is because she allows these like brush marks for the transitions. She does do them smoother, obviously. Um, and I think it has something to do with her like texture brushes. I'm almost positive it's flat bristle and canvas, and I've tried it. Um, it's just weird, and I'm trying trying to get used to it, but it does give me a nicer transition. You can see than in the standard. She also uses 100% and then like a low on the whatever the texture is. And then she dumps out all the blending, dilution, and persistence. Hi, Harish. Jack, I'm very inspired by Transformers. I wish I could make that kind of robot. Oh yeah, mech drawings are fun. Um, should definitely do that. That would be really cool. I really like the mechs from Code Geass. Such an awesome anime if you've never seen it. Um, oh, but yeah, I also realized just from her painting Nova that she's just a beast at painting. Like she hardly ever used undo. She just painted over stuff if she screwed up, which she didn't all that often, but that she would just paint over it if she did. So I was like, paint tool psi equals rod painting skill. I must try. Because I feel like every other program I'm like struggling with using it because there's so many tools available. It's just it feels right. Um, Hi Govin. Yes, I also have one brush blending. Yeah, see, one brush. The specific settings for it, I'm sure if I go over it, I might be able to figure it out. So far, it looks absolutely amazing. Thank you. I know it's not quite great as hers. This is like an older piece for her too, so I'm sure if she were to do it again, she would improve upon it a ton. Um, so I'm trying to go with what I know as well. I'm pretty sure I made the eye a little bit smaller. That's just my preference too. I could have made it a little bit bigger though. I'm trying to learn how to blend because I suck at it so much. Um, what's up, old man? Stray cat. Hey, how dare you? I'm the ripe old age of 35. I just saw your pushing art video. 33. You're an old man too? Started seriously at 31. Really glad to hear old dogs talk about their experience. Oh, you're killing me. That's hilarious. Yes, us old dogs should talk about our experience more. People know it's not impossible. I had some comments of people who were like 50, 40 and 50, who were like, I just started and I love it. And I was like, this is the most amazing. I loved some of the comments were just all like 99% super inspirational and lovely, or a couple of crazy people, some haters, but you're gonna get that everywhere, right? So does that make me a raw painter? Yes it does. I think the difference between I actually watched your video the other day. The difference between the way that you guys paint, and if you look at yours, you might be able to see it. I'm not sure if you still have it, but if you look at it again, your painting is smoother than hers. Um, Not that it's you can't paint that way, but hers is really good because when you have a lot of like brush strokes like this, like you start blending more and you add variety of color and you blend those, and so you have like this um it's like what they talk about with Leyendecker when he has like these little lines in there, right? And it's different varieties of color. um Forget what the hell it's called, but basically the painting feels more worked on, and it adds this like depth because you have this transition of value and color, um, and when you do, that like straight this with the watercolor and you make it like a perfect blend, which can look nice on like uh, mechanical stuff like mechs or robots or something. But because it's so smooth, it it looks wrong. If that makes sense. Again, you can paint that way. I think you just have to balance. Oh shit, I'm still using a brush. You just have to be careful how you balance things. But yeah, the difference between your painting and hers was just the way that you guys worked on it. Like I don't, you're very skilled at doing that. That was very impressive. I don't think I could do that honestly. Uh, but really, the only difference between yours and hers was that smoothness. Um, and I think once you add that bit of like texture and that layering of value and color in there, your paintings will be awesome and improve too. Notice you're using shapes over lines when I was studying her. It's also good you're giving it your own spin, makes it more personal. Yeah, I don't like I've done so many studies at this point. Like I don't like studying exact replicas. I want to at least somewhat make it my own. I know it's not mine, but I'm practicing for my own works. So copying just doesn't make sense. I have to pursue it like it's my own work. All right, I think we're doing pretty damn good here. That came out pretty awesome. I kind of want to do the flowers, but running out of time here. Stray Cat. Matt went to college for art. 19 absolutely crushed me. All my professors flunked me and told me I should do something else. Jesus. Bro. Wow, your teachers are terrible. I I've only heard that a couple times, to be honest. That is truly awful. I'm sorry your teachers failed you like that. My mom told me when I was older that my teachers, I didn't know this, but apparently my teachers didn't think that I was going to amount to much of anything. They didn't say it to my face, but they kind of implied it to my parents. Um, and it's just like it's so shitty to think that about kids. Like we're trying to understand our place in the world and learn about what we want to do. Like to judge somebody's what what they're gonna be before they even have remotely a chance to get started in the world is just so rude. I also saw a video on even I'm 17 is exactly what I need for not giving up and to start take more seriously my art. Mer SC. That's awesome. I hope it sets you down the right path. You can not make the mistakes we made and be professional in your 20s. Um, and it will be that much sweeter. That's cool though. I'm glad you caught it while you were young. That's part of, making that video is like I want to reach people who are younger, not just the older artists who want to continue it too, but also the younger artists. I don't want you all to make the same mistakes I did. I want you to come out on top, it, accomplish those dreams faster. Um, because once you get, everything, when you get to that professional level, it's when all the basics start working for you. Um, that's when you really get the freedom to play and explore those ideas um, that you really love. Because now you can draw and paint for the most part. You're just going to keep on improving, but you have the enough of the ability to do it for real once you get that skill. So that is exciting. So the sooner you can make it there, the better. Novish, I didn't know you noticed all that. I do it so unconsciously. I'll try to keep them in mind when I work on my next piece. Thanks for the insight. Yeah, sorry. I don't mean to give you unwanted critique. I hope I'm not bothering you with that. I will shut my mouth if if I'm going too far. But yeah, your video was insightful for me. I was trying to understand the difference because I really liked your piece too, the master study. I was just like, what is the difference here? Why is this different? Because I had watched her video, so I knew at that point, like, um, look at how far we came. That was good. Okay, we're gonna combine that and combine with the background. So now we can try to see if we can get some of that lovely ethereal quality to the edges. But yeah, I appreciated your piece, Nova. It gave me a lot of insight. And because I had seen her video, is the only reason why I was able to look at it and um, to look at yours and be like, okay, this was the difference in the two pieces. Okay, her bump happens a lot higher. I think that's, oops. Basically, I'm just trying to say I was fortunate to be able to see your piece, Nova, so I appreciate that you worked on it. It was very beneficial to me. Well, it's not perfect, but it looks nicer with the soft edges. My sculpting and storyboarding teachers were the worst. Yeah, that's funny that you say that. I had a storyboarding teacher as well, because I wanted to just try it while I was at school. Um, and I realized while I was doing it that I wasn't really enjoying it. Uh, but I was already, or excuse me, I wasn't enjoying it, but I had a lot of other classes, so I had to I had to pick and choose what classes to give priority to spend more of my time on, and I decided to let storyboarding sort of slide a little bit. And I even just was honest with him, so I told him, and he took it friggin' personally and told me that I was never gonna make it, and that like he was gonna give me a bad grade and everything. I was just like, I'm not threatened by you, bro. Like I'm I came here later. Like if I was a young, just fresh out of being a teenager, then this might affect me. But like I'm trying to do something specific. Like you can leave me alone. But he's just so rude. And I actually appreciate storyboarding a lot more now, and I want to practice a little because I think it helps with compositions and stuff. But man, did that guy make it hard to want to even remotely get into that? I think I stayed away from storyboarding even more just because I didn't like that guy. So rude. Nova, don't apologize. You always give me very good feedback. Okay, good. All right, late. Are you working with Wacom? Yeah, Wacom Intuos Pro Medium. It's let's see if I can see it on the screen. Looks like this. I prefer working on this. I do have a little screen tablet, and I have the iPad as well. But I like that my hand is not blocking what I'm seeing. So if you have a screen tablet, it's like drawing in a sketchbook, right? Your hand kind of blocks it a little. It's a weird thing to get used to at first, I remember, but once you're used to it, it feels quite good. All right, guys. If you have any more questions, I'll take them, but I think we're done here for today. But I'll be on tomorrow, same time, 8:30 to 10:30 roughly. We went overtime, but I don't mind going overtime. We have people here. What's my favorite color? I usually lean towards yellow, red, and black. I think it has something to do with the racing colors of like Puma shoes back in the day. It was nice seeing you too, Nova. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining. And Chase, I know you arrived late. You can check it out. It'll be uploaded. And if you can show up, I'm gonna do this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I want to try to do Thursday as kind of like a break for Artist Day, and maybe play games with you guys or something. I'm not sure. But yeah, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm trying to do 8:30 and 10:30. We'll see how that time works for everybody. See how that goes. I think we did a good job here. Again, I didn't really need to do the flowers. I don't think it's necessary. I just really wanted to focus on that blending on the face. And then next step is to actually do another portrait. I've done 3 so far for the bleach project. So I'm gonna do either who's left, Ishida or Rukia. Let's see which one. I'm thinking Rukia. Do another female portrait. So again, thanks for showing up, guys. Get you tomorrow if you're there, or Wednesday if you can make it. Have a good one.